Hello, and welcome to Sinister, where we tell you 3 dark and interesting stories a week. If you want to know more about the format of the show, you can check out the video trailer on this channel's homepage. If you like the show, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you always know when a new episode airs. You can also leave a comment with your thoughts on the show or a suggested topic. Thanks again, and enjoy the show. Maximilien Robespierre, a name that echoes through the annals of history, is a figure both revered and reviled. He was a central figure in the French Revolution, a prominent leader of the Committee of Public Safety, and a fervent advocate for radical change. Robespierre saw thousands of people who opposed him executed by the guillotine, only to find himself in the device in the end. Maximilien Robespierre was born on May 6, 1759 in Arras, France, to a lawyer father and a brewer's daughter. Tragedy struck early in Robespierre's life when his mother passed away on July 16, 1764, while giving birth to a stillborn daughter. That loss had a significant impact on the young boy, shaping his early years. He was an intelligent and ambitious young man who pursued a legal career. Around 1767, Robespierre's father left the family for unknown reasons, leaving Maximilien and his siblings in the care of their maternal grandparents. Despite those challenges, Robespierre showed promise from an early age. He started his education at the College of Arras when he was just 8 years old, demonstrating his early literacy skills. Robespierre's intellectual journey took a significant turn when he secured a scholarship to the prestigious College Louis le Grand in Paris in October of 1769. It was there that he developed a deep admiration for the Roman Republic and honed his rhetorical skills, drawing inspiration from figures like Cicero, Cato, and Lucius Junius Brutus. During his time at Louis le Grand, Robespierre was exposed to the ideas of influential Enlightenment thinkers. He became particularly drawn to the concepts of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, especially those expounded in Rousseau's De Contrat Social. That translates to the social contract and contains theories on how to establish authority in a political community. Robespierre aligned himself with Rousseau's idea that the general will of the people should be the foundation of political legitimacy. After graduating from Louis le Grand, Robespierre studied at Sorbonne University for 3 years. In 1781, he was accepted to the bar and returned to Arras to establish his legal practice. For the next 8 years, Robespierre worked diligently to build his reputation as a lawyer, often taking on cases where he believed the defendant was a victim of injustice. Alongside his legal career, Robespierre began to engage in political activities. He wrote essays advocating for equality before the law, one of which earned him a prize from the Academy of Metz in 1784. His memoir Sur la peine sans fondement, which translate to Report on Degrading Punishments, won first prize at the Academy of Metz, further establishing his reputation as a progressive thinker. Robespierre's rise to prominence came during the early stages of the French Revolution. In the National Convention, he emerged as a leading voice of the Jacobin faction, advocating for the rights of the common people and espousing a vision of a more egalitarian society. Egalitarianism is the belief that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunities. He believed that the revolution should not only remove the monarchy but also eradicate the remnants of feudalism and establish a republic that would embody the principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. One thing that Robespierre wanted to see change was the process of execution. He was not a fan of execution, but he didn't necessarily want to see it abolished. He simply wanted it to be fair. In the time leading up to the French Revolution, there was a wide variety of execution methods. Back then, people could get quite creative on how they ended someone's life. The problem that Robespierre saw was that nobility tended to get quick and painless executions, like beheading, but commoners would get slow, torturous executions like being drawn and quartered. In 1789, the guillotine had been invented to serve as a simple method of decapitation, which would swiftly take a life in the same way despite social status. Robespierre was impressed by the device and made it the standard method of execution, at least in Paris. Robespierre's commitment to change in France led to his instrumental role in the establishment of the Committee of Public Safety in 1793. As a member of that committee, he became known for his unwavering commitment to the revolution and his belief in the use of revolutionary terror as a means of securing its goals. That would become the beginning of the Reign of Terror, which I made a video about prior to this one. There's a link in the description. During the Reign of Terror, thousands of individuals, including King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette, were executed under the guillotine. Robespierre justified those actions as necessary to protect the revolution from counter-revolutionary forces and to ensure the survival of the Republic. During the year that the Reign of Terror was in full swing, Robespierre used paranoia and fear to remove the people who opposed him from the Republic, himself moving into a position of greater influence. Thousands upon thousands of people were sent to the guillotine as a means of keeping the people in fear, a tactic championed by Robespierre himself. The Jacobin clubs of the French Revolution were not only driven by a desire to remove the monarchy and create a government which represented the commoners, but they also wanted to remove the control that the Roman Catholic Church had on the country. To many involved in the reform of the government, creating a completely atheistic system seemed to be in favor. Many of the Jacobins were heavily influenced during the Age of Enlightenment. That was an 18th century movement that based behavior on science and reason as opposed to a divine order that placed individuals in a social hierarchy. The Republic made the cult of reason the new state religion of France and, in keeping with the majority of the Jacobins' ideologies, it was an atheistic belief system. The problem was that, though Robespierre was for the removal of the Roman Catholic Church, he was not an atheist. Robespierre believed that religion played a crucial role in shaping a virtuous society. He often quoted Voltaire, who said, "If God did not exist, it would be necessary to invent him." As his influence increased, he established the cult of the Supreme Being, a deistic religion meant to replace the cult of reason as the state religion of France. That new cult acknowledged the existence of a Supreme Being and the immortality of the human soul, with worship centered around its acts of civic duty. On May 7, 1794, the National Convention approved the cult of the Supreme Being as the new state religion, and Robespierre used religious issues as a way to publicly denounce the motives of many people who didn't agree with him. That led to the executions of any of the revolutionaries who wanted to remove religion from France. Robespierre then announced that 20 Prairial Year 2, which was June 8, 1794, would be the first celebration of the Supreme Being. Taking into account the new calendar that was being used by the Republic, which had 3 10-day weeks in each month, Robespierre declared the 10th day of the week the day of rest, which would also be reserved for future Republican holidays. Robespierre mandated that all municipalities were to have a celebration on June 8th, but he organized a grand celebration held on the Champ de Mars in Paris. The event was meticulously planned, with citizens decorating their homes with wreaths, ribbons, and flowers. Robespierre, dressed in a sky blue coat and gold trousers, took on the role of high priest, officiating the ceremonies. At the end, they climbed a summit where a liberty tree had been planted, and Robespierre delivered 2 speeches. That was the point where historians believe that Robespierre lost his power. He was heavily criticized for creating his own religion, and some accused him of desiring godhood. The pivotal moment came on 9 Thermidor, or July 27, 1794, when conspiracies against Robespierre culminated in a dramatic confrontation at the National Convention. Jean-Lambert Tallien, a member of the convention, launched a scathing attack on Robespierre, denouncing him as a tyrant. That bold move was quickly supported, and soon cries of "Down with the tyrant, arrest him" echoed through the chamber. Robespierre attempted to defend himself, but his words were drowned out by the commotion. In a desperate bid, he appealed to the deputies of the right, but to no avail. The convention, once under his sway, had turned against him. An order was swiftly made to arrest Robespierre and his followers. 4 deputies of the National Convention had sided with Robespierre, and all 5 of them were taken to different prisons, but they all managed to escape. It's unknown how the escapes happened, but it's suspected that jailers had allowed them to go free. The deputies went to the Hotel de Ville. However, troops of the National Convention surrounded the building at around 2 a.m. on July 28th. In the chaos that ensued, Robespierre suffered a broken jaw believed to have been from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. At noon that day, a revolutionary tribunal assembled and sentenced Robespierre and his supporters to be executed. Without a trial, something allowed due to a law he had helped create, Maximilien Robespierre and 21 of his followers were guillotined before a cheering mob in the Place de la Révolution. Over the next few days, an additional 82 Robespierre supporters met the same fate, marking the end of the Reign of Terror. The fall of Robespierre ushered in a period known as the Thermidorian Reaction. The new regime, however, proved unpopular and faced numerous rebellions. The aftermath saw a violent backlash against anyone associated with Robespierre or the Jacobin Club, a period known as the White Terror. Maximilien Robespierre's execution marked a significant turning point in the French Revolution. During his time on the Committee of Public Safety, it's estimated that more than 17,000 people were executed as enemies of the revolution, mostly by guillotine. His fall from power effectively ended the Reign of Terror, but the repercussions of his actions and the violent reaction to his downfall would continue to shape French politics and society for years to come. If you want to learn more about the Reign of Terror, you can view the video I made about it. A link is in the description. If you want to learn more about the guillotine, you can watch the video I'm posting in 2 days. I'll put a link in the description after it goes live. Thanks so much for letting us tell you this sinister story. If you like the show, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you always know when a new episode airs. You can also hit like or leave a comment about the show or a suggestion for an episode. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week, or we'll take you somewhere sinister.